So today I'm going to show you a cupcake board using our rose garland set. Now the set comes in 3 sizes, so you have the large, the medium and the small, and I've embossed a board using the small one. If you want to make sure they fit exactly, then I'll just move that out of the way. Cut out the circle of greaseproof paper that you're going to, the size that you're going to use for the board, and then you can mark round using a pencil and work that round so that you can see when you come back to the beginning, if there's a gap, that's how much space you have to leave in between each one to make them fit exactly. Now, I am not bothered about sort of all that, because on here, let me show you on here, I've already embossed this, but I've started on my board and then I've embossed that all the way round, and it has left a gap, but that is nice because you can then put somebody's initial or hearts or a butterfly, anything that you want to fill that gap and to personalize the whole thing. So there's the V. So that is now, once it's embossed, just leave it for a few hours before you paint it. So I'm going to go on to painting. So I'm going to use a nice lemon dust colour. It's called lemon meringue, and I always use isopropyl alcohol for painting. This evaporates very quickly and you can paint 2 colours next to each other without them running. So just mix in the lid and paint around, making sure that the colour goes right into the embossed line. And then I'm going to move on to the little garland. So I'm going to do a little colour wash, so it's just literally keep topping that up if it dries out too quickly. So this is going on as a paint because I've added the alcohol. And at the end here, they're just 2 little buds, so I'm just going to touch those. And then I'm going to mix some green. Now I've got a dark green, whoops, dark green here, and one called shell green. I'm just going to mix the 2 together. So again, put a little bit of dark green in there. I have already mixed some before, so you can see the dried dust from then. Depending on how dark you want it, and then just paint in the leaves. So touch the colour into the embossed leaf. I'm not going to do the whole plaque because I've already got one here ready, but I just wanted to show you this one little section. Just turn it slightly. Paint the other side. That's the calyx around the bud. Just touch that in. Right, oh, another one there, nearly missed that one. Okay, and then at the ends of this there are 2 little birds, so I'm just going to paint mine lilac, the sort of imaginary birds, but you could do blue for bluebirds if you wanted to. So I'm using a lilac colour and just touch that in. Now this, as I say, it dries really quickly, the isopropyl alcohol, so now already I can just dust over this, and I'm going to use just a hint of burgundy over the yellow rose, and that's going to go on dry, so it's really work that colour into your brush and just into the centre of that flower, just bring in a little colour and then just swoop it round the outside edge. So you're just bringing a little colour onto there. Also, you can just put a touch of it onto the little buds at the end there, and you continue all the way around. So you could do all the yellow first and then the greenery, so you're not changing your brushes all the time, but you continue with that all the way around, and then you dust over the whole thing with this one is called I have to read it, Starlight Comet White. It's by Rainbow Dust. It's a lovely colour. So you would have a great big brush, and then you would just go over the whole plaque with your great big soft brush, and that will just set the colours. But you do that once your painting is complete. So here's the completed board, and I've brushed over with the Starlight colour, and I've also added a few of the little lilac butterflies, which I'll show you how to do those in a moment, but I'm going to move on now to the cupcakes. For the cupcakes, I'm just going to rub a little bit of the shortening on there, and I've worked some sugar paste so that it's nice and soft. And I'm going to do two sizes of the garland. So this is for the larger one. And press over the rose. It's not going to take the whole garland, so just press over the rose and some of the leaves. Get a good impression. That's why you're doing this on the board rather than on the cupcake, because the cupcake will be soft and bouncy, and you won't get a very clear impression. So you need to do this on the board. So give a flick away, and then take the cutter. Now again, I'm using my plastic cupcakes, and just going to lift that on there. So obviously you'd be using your nice fresh cupcake. So that goes on. And on your cupcake, you would have buttercream underneath just to hold this down. And then press around the outside edge just to bring that into a neat shape. And then use your embosser. Now, on the side of the rose here, there are some leaves. So I'm just going to emboss that around the rose. Like so. So that's a fully covered with the embossing. Now the other one, that's the large, and now I'm going on to the medium size. The small one I used on the board edge. So the large, the medium, and the small, they're all exactly the same, just different sizes, same pattern. So press over that, and this time I'm going to take the cutter, just place it so that part of the top is plain. I'm going to leave that plain. Just lift that and pop it on top. And press round. And I will emboss just this part here. But I'm going to leave this part plain so I can put a little butterfly on there. So we have the two different patterns. And then you can use your large brush and the same Starlight Dust colour just to go over that. And then I'm going to paint them exactly the same as I did for the board. So it's the lemon meringue, and again the isopropyl alcohol, and give a colour wash to it. So you can just hold that while you paint. And then I'm just going to choose a couple of leaves either side. So I'm not going to paint the whole thing, just, excuse me, just a couple of leaves. So isopropyl alcohol again, and I still have the mix from before. So I've got the dark green, and I might just put a little more of the light green in there, the shell green. So on here where I embossed before, there's 3 leaves there and some on the other side. So I just need to just hold that down. So use a smaller brush, number 3. And because the shell green is a pearl, you can see a slight sheen on there. And that's the effect that I wanted to get. It's a pearl colour. Just paint that on. And that little one there. So that will be drying. While that's drying off, I'm just going to paint this one the same. So with the lemon meringue, and that. And the green. So there's the sets of leaves either side of the rose on this one. See more of those. And on here. Just make sure that you follow the pattern that's been embossed. And then again with the burgundy, now I'm just going to, you could use pink, so it's like a peach rose really, but I'm just going to brush a hint of that onto each flower and a little bit around the side, and again a hint around the side petals. So you're just introducing a little of the burgundy colour. And if you want to, you can then go back again, depends how much lustre you want on, and then just go over again with the big brush of lustre colour. So I'm just going to leave that like that, and I'm now going to make some of the little butterflies. So for the butterflies, I'm using a small piece of flower paste and the same colour that I used to paint the birds on the embossed board. I'm going to use that so that the colour will match. So just dip that in and work it just to clear through. And then a little of the shortening, as that's the tracks, and roll out. So you need to roll the paste thin and don't lift it up and down. Now the butterflies I'm using are from our Countryside silhouette set. We do have a butterfly set, but that's far more detailed. These are sort of nice little basic shape, and you put a little tracks on there, press firmly, maybe 2, and then the tiny one, put more tracks on there and cut out. And then I'm just going to pull the paste away. And lift the butterfly, and then you just drape it. If you turn it over, you can drape it over the edge of a box or even your sponge pad, anything that you're going to get that shape. You can also, if you're going to do any shading on there, then do that at this stage. It's much easier because if once they're dry and you start colouring them, they're more likely to break. So I'm just going to go over with a little of the shimmer. And so that's why you need to just turn them over, shimmer side down, so that when they're dry, they'll be the right way up. And pop them onto your sponge pad and leave them for a couple of hours, or better still, overnight to dry. So to attach the butterflies onto the cupcakes and onto the board, I've just taken a small piece of the flour paste and just dip your knife in water and really paddle that so that you don't want it too soft, it's going to hold its shape. But it needs to be nice and smooth. And then take your butterfly and just dip it. Hold one wing, don't try and hold it like that, otherwise you'll break them. And then just dip it in there and pop that onto your cupcake. And the very tiny ones, dip it in and pop it on. So this is the completed board, and I hope you have fun making yours.